get that boy off the field sort of thing. And then it took a minute to realize that they were talking about our daughter. This gentleman wouldn't let it go. Kept badgering and yelling, demanding certification of her being female. Our daughter was crying inconsolably.
A 9-year track athlete up in British Columbia, Canada, was allegedly berated by a grandfather and also a grandmother over how she looked. They had assumptions that they made. If you couldn't tell from that, the mother's reaction, here's the athlete's other mother talking about what she saw as well.
My daughter was so shaken up. Like, she has gay parents. She's had trans coaches. She's got a trans cousin. It's the first time she's ever seen anything like that. This is supposed to be girls. Why are there boys throwing? He points at my daughter and he points at another girl in line with short hair. At which point I stepped forward and I said, excuse me, are you talking about my child? Because my child is a girl. And he says, oh, a girl, right? A girl. And says, if they're not boys, then they're trans.
Well, both of this athlete's mothers were talking about what it is that they saw. They have very similar stories about what was said and also what the reaction of their daughter was. Also, the school superintendents and administrative officials throughout also had the parents back. This is what they did. Kevin Cardall, who's the superintendent of Central Okanagan Public Schools, has been working toward ensuring that the couple, whose grandchild is believed to be in another school, this older couple that was allegedly talking to this kid like this, that they can't do this kind of thing again. Quote, the persons who accosted the student and family were not from our Central Okanagan Public Schools. Excuse me, so I'm destroying it. We took steps through the School Act. We will be serving them with a letter which prevents them from being on any district property or any district events. On top of that, the school board trustee also had this to say.
We were sickened. It's just horrific what happened to the children who were there, just little children, grade 4 children. People put on this facade of protecting children and whatever, but really what they're trying to do is take away children's freedom to be who they are.
They've definitely come for this couple. We're gonna get to their response because they did respond. But first, Ben, the first level of this, the alleged berating of this little girl and how this seems like I was expecting this to be in Florida, Texas, Alabama, Nebraska, Missouri, British Columbia.
I mean, it's just a horrible person, and we are in a very twisted place now because everybody thinks they have the right to question everybody's origins and real selves and harass young people. And there's just a lot of unintended consequences from the way society is unfolding. Unfortunately, much of it from the right that is just demonizing people and making issues where there don't need to be. But just in general, I just feel terrible for the girl. And you just hate to see young people harassed by adults without anything better to do. It's disgusting.
But are we sure this went down? Let's hash out this whole thing. I want you guys to pay attention to the response. Let's look at the picture of the couple, the alleged couple that pulled this whole thing off. His name is Joseph Tessar and his wife, Krista. They have their own side of the story to tell because Krista apparently was also alleged to have screamed at one of these moms, calling her a genital mutilator, a groomer, and a pedophile. That's what one of the moms said that she said. So this is their defense. He says he walked over to an official to ask if the event was co-ed. This is his story. He says, I never yelled towards the girl. I went to the official in private and asked one only question, if this is a mixed competition. Tessar said that he was told the event was, quote, girls only. He said he replied to the official that he thought there was a boy in line with the other competitors. More, he says, as I was walking away from the official, a woman was saying, I'm her mother. And she was yelling and swearing at me and offering if I want to see the girl naked or if I want to see her genitals, is what he continued by saying. He said, no, the certificate is okay. That's all I said. I never pointed to another girl and said that she's obviously trans. That is a big lie as well. So he's denying the whole thing. He said actually that because each side is saying that the other was looking for some kind of a genital check, which of course is disgusting. And we've heard people talk about that are against trans athletes, of course. So he's denying that outright as well. I want you guys to listen to also the way he pointed this one thing out. These are his thoughts on the LGBTQ+ community. Joseph tells Castanet, who was also reporting on this, that he believes the two moms were trying to, quote, satisfy an agenda. So the agenda would have to be them randomly accusing this one guy of doing this and his wife, and then making up the entire story. Again, all alleged, because they're looking into this. The two mothers of the cisgendered girl, this is their pronunciation. I personally don't even know what that means, he says. He goes, that word is not in my vocabulary. They fabricate the lies and hate towards us. I never yelled towards the girl. I went to the official in private and asked one question. So he's never heard of the term cisgendered. He doesn't use that term. That's for those folks and their agenda. So the school officials, Ben, are looking into it, and they've talked to some other folks, the officials that were on the field, some other administrative officials throughout the whole board, and they said there was a disturbance. They had to move the entire event across the field. So there was something that went down. The difference is which side of these folks is telling the truth, and there's some hints to maybe some assumptions you can make.
Yeah, now the plot thickens. I don't know what to make of it. I was not there. I don't know the truth, but I do know that the man who at least asked the one question about whether that was a girl or not, I'd like to see his genitals. I want to make sure that he indeed was a man asking that question, because I only would take the question seriously if it came from a man, obviously, and if it came from a woman, you never know. So I would like to see his genitals. What I meant to say was I only would take the question seriously if it came from a woman. And that's also why I would not want to see his genitals, because I would never ask a woman to see their. Can we go on to the next story?
Well, the main thing is that you want to see a certificate. Think about it that way. You want to see a certificate to make sure that this 9-year-old athlete was who he assumed that she is. So that's enough.
Yeah, but certificates don't even mean anything anymore. We got AI, we got Photoshop, we got. No truth exists anymore. There is nothing. I think we all just need to be one group and stop trying to delineate anything maybe at this point. It's getting too hard to follow.
By the way, this athlete, she wins at events at times, and they get the little thin ribbon that I used to get when I was in the 4th grade as well for running. I don't know what those ribbons are. The point is these guys are losing their minds, whether it was calling her trans and a boy and all that stuff, or if it was just him going, why is there a boy in this event? Is it co-ed? Because that was what he did admit to at least saying. I'm not sure how many $1 million contracts are being given out for 9-year-old girls doing the shot put. Just don't know. But apparently this is very important to folks to worry about. And then after discovering it, having this whole issue with it, maybe just sit down and watch the event. It's a small suggestion.